It's Aleya Antoine. You're listening to Tease podcast.
Everyone loves the tease. Stop.
Don't get too excited. I had to make a group text with her mom and her grandma and say, your daughter has court. I called the court and said, I don't know why this is coming to my house. Get her. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tease podcast. It is so great to be back with you guys. Right now, I think that I'm rocking like some sort of like floral Dora-esque look, and it's because it is so hot outside that this is the only thing that I could bring myself to wear. And I was gonna wear a shorter skirt, but I just like didn't feel like this was the episode to flash y'all. I feel like I should wait till like episode 10 for that. Oh my gosh, guys, this week has been so chaotic. I was down astronomically, like down bad wouldn't even encompass what has happened. And here's the thing, I wasn't going through it because of things that were happening on the external, or I was like in a fight or some drama. No, it wasn't that type of down bad. I have been down mentally bad. Like, whoo! To put it in perspective on how my brain has been kind of like torturing me. This week was the 4th of July, right? Well, the 4th of July, it's staggered, right? So either way, the 4th of July just happened. First, we went to the lake, and I haven't been in the water since, oh my God, since like last year. So I was so excited because 1, I've never paddleboarded. 2, I haven't been in the water in forever. And 3, people were wearing bikinis. And you know me, I noticed that Washington is just so bikini shy that when everyone's wearing bikinis, I'm just like, okay, I feel at home. I feel like I can walk around and I'm not going to be stared at like a weirdo. So it was a good day. But the only thing is that going to the lake is like just kind of mildly triggering for me. It's mildly triggering because, okay, first of all, I can't swim. Don't make any jokes. I don't want to fucking hear it. Don't you hate when you like fit a stereotype about yourself? I know I can't swim and I want to fix it every day just so that way no one in the back of their brain looks at me like, I ain't surprised. You know what I mean? Like when I tell people that I can't, here and then people will be like, oh my God, really? But there's a lot of times to where I'll say it and like no one guesses it. No one asks me questions. Everyone's just like, okay, and accepts it. And I'm like, interesting. It's kind of like when people say that like lesbians hate men. I don't hate them. But I'm not like a fan. I'm not advocating for men's rights around the world. I just, I don't even know what other stereotypes I fit. I probably fit a couple. I'm a little fiery. I'm an Aries, so I fit that stereotype. But I think that I can be like kind of softer on the Aries side because I'm not an April one, I'm a March one. And Aprils, those are the psycho bitches you need to watch out for. Oh my fucking God. I've had a few April Aries friends and like I think I'm spicy with personality. I think that I can cause a riot. And April Aries is gonna get you while they're in the back of a cop car and then send everything to your house. Oh, I don't know if I should tell that story. It's just so long. Okay, we'll put it this way. Long story short, there was this girl that I was hooking up with and I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings. It was New Year's Eve, I think, and I was working till 9 and I was supposed to go over to all of our friends' house together, right? I get a call saying the girl is in the back of a cop car next to my Buffalo Wild Wings. Can you go see if she's okay? I'm kind of freaking out. I'm like, what the fuck? Turns out she was stealing from Target and I went over to place Captain Save-A-Ho and I did the dumbest shit that actually led to my very first panic attack. And what I did was she didn't want to provide her address. So my dumbass, this is why they say hooking up with your first girl is dangerous because you make dumbass decisions. I let her mail the fucking papers to my house. Oh my God, I was so stressed out. And like, here's the thing. I didn't know her for that long. We only knew each other for a couple months. She tried to not even go to court or change the address. I had to make a group text with her mom and her grandma and say, your daughter has court. I called the court and said, I don't know why this is coming to my house. Get her. Anywho, I fit a little bit of the Aries stereotype, but not all of it. Back to the swimming. I can't swim, and going to the lake is triggering for me because when I was, I think, 12 years old, me and my friend went to the lake. We were sailing out because in Texas, there's like 20 million lakes. We're on our 2 tubes. We want to dip in the water. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to hold on to my tube because I can't swim. Somehow, when I got out of the tube, I don't know if it was the current. I don't know if I have butterfingers. I probably do because that was my issue in basketball. The tube just floats away. Bye-bye, tube. Bye. It floats away. Me and my friend are at least like 30 feet into the lake. My mom is on the shore. I start having a full-on drowning attack, for lack of better words. Like, I'm literally, trigger warning, just in case, trigger warning, I'm literally drowning in the lake. Like, I am doing the whole frantic thing. I almost got my poor friend down with me because I'm pushing off of her. And I wasn't pushing off of her because, like, I'm an asshole who was trying to make her suffer. I think that, like, when your body goes into fight or flight, you're not thinking. Literally, the only way that I made it out was I literally went under. I kind of accepted the fact that it was happening. And then all of a sudden, this boat of guys pulls me out of the water, throws me on there. Next thing I know, I'm in a fire truck. My mom's looking around to thank the guys, like, thank you for saving my daughter's life, because my stepdad is swimming. He's swimming over, but yeah, he was like, I want you to imagine, like, you know, on the cartoons where someone's like just at the shore fighting for their life, but they're getting no progress. That was my stepdad. And no one ever saw these guys again. Miracle? I've always felt like it was. But even though I love going to the lake and I love being in the water, the lake specifically always is just like slightly triggering for me. I floated on a tube in the lake and that felt like complete exposure, submersion therapy. I don't know why I would do that. I think sometimes as humans, we just like to kind of like poke at ourselves, like a little bit of spice, zest, pain. I don't know what you call it. So that happened. And then we went to my friend's for a barbecue, which was amazing. Except I did not know that you can microdose legally in Washington. Like, you can literally get it at a dispo. And so, like, I had just like a baby little thing of chocolate, and I was getting another hot dog with extra melted cheese, and I didn't know that like the whole barbecue pit is hot. I thought that it's just the top, you know, like an oven, you can touch the outside. I didn't intentionally touch it, but I like booty bumped it pretty much. And now I have 2 burns on my thigh. But despite all of that, I wouldn't even count those as bad weeks. I wouldn't even count those as bad experiences because they are nothing to what has been going on in my head. I think that I've just like been dealing with so much imposter syndrome lately. Like, before, I was so hyper focused on launching the podcast, going to my commencement ceremony, starting my last class for the summer, my relationship. And now that the dust has settled, I mean, one, me and Kai have like talked things out. We've gone to couples therapy and we're still casually dating, but I feel like we're in a lot more stable place together. And then the podcast is now launched, which, like, woohoo, I'm so excited. In my school, I've gotten the hang of that. I've gotten the ball rolling. My course is somehow in podcasting. Coincidence? I don't know, because literally when you sign up for your last like senior course in communications, it doesn't tell you what the course is. It changes every fucking semester. Somehow I ended up with the podcast course when I just happened to make a podcast. I feel like that's the universe telling me to not give up, but I've just been having so much imposter syndrome because I think that now that I'm less distracted by like launching and all this stuff, I'm kind of like sitting back, patiently waiting for the success to happen. And I think that's what drives me absolutely insane, is because I am still working on learning the concept that like things don't come easily to you. Like in school as a child, I always got straight A's. When I did sports, I did cheer, which I was really good at. I did track, which I was even better at. I became captain as a sophomore. I was class president at one point. Like, this isn't me bragging, but like, I was not used to having to go through that waiting game for success. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't build that stamina to push through hardships, to push through lows. The only thing that I ever like had to deal with was like money problems and maybe like family issues or interpersonal relationships. But when I am actually trying something in like my quote unquote career path, this is the first time that I've like actually struggled. To put it in context, like I started content creation about a year ago. And when I started, I was under the impression that you post, you are consistent with posting, you work with some brands, and boom, you are a content creator, you're getting paid all the time. And that's kind of how people make it seem. I mean, people dog on content creation and all that stuff too, because they say it's so easy. And that was the impression that I was under. I bought a course just to help me like learn how to pitch to brands. I got more views, but I still felt like the success was not where I wanted to be. Like my follower count, it was like for every follower I gained, I lost. And I'm not trying to sound like superficial, like I care about all that stuff. But since, I mean, my degree is in digital communication, my degree is in marketing online, my passion is marketing online. So to me, it's not really a follower count. It's kind of a measure of, did I choose the right career path and am I actually good at it? Like, yes, I see small tokens of success. I see maybe a collaboration, but you know how I feel like people always put like these big numbers that are more important than the little things when they're really not. And since I can't see those big things, I'm having a hard time cherishing the small stuff. And with the podcast, I wasn't expecting it to be an overnight success. I know that even the fact that I'm starting a podcast in 2024 and I'm virtually a nobody, that is going to be so fucking hard. But I think that I just thought that it would be a little easier. I played the social media comparison game. I'm gonna admit it. I don't really compare myself to like my friends or people in like my everyday life, but I do scroll through socials and I measure myself to someone else's success. And I don't think that I'm a jealous person, but I think that I have the envious personality. And the way that I would differentiate that is, to me, like jealousy is when you are coming at someone from a negative place. Maybe you want something that they have, you know what I mean? And so you're a hater, pretty much. Like, I feel like jealousy leads to hatering. But for me, I'm definitely more of like an envious person. And I think it's because like I do so many vision boards. I'm such a daydreamer. Like, you know, like when you're just in your head thinking, wow, I can't wait till this happens. For you to even know that there's like another side, you probably learned from someone who already made it there. So while I'm vision boarding and hoping for all of the success, I have to look at Pinterest, I have to look at Instagram and see, what does a successful digital marketer look like? And I can take that as constructive criticism, I can take that as motivation, but somewhere along the way, the envy little seed gets thrown into it. And then I start being like, man, I wish that I was like this. Man, I wish I had started this earlier. I don't know. I think that I have just been struggling, and I know that success is one, not overnight. I know that two, like slow growth is growth. And I know that I'm trying my fucking hardest. I know that there's like not much more that I can do to try even harder. All I can do is learn more and better myself. And so yesterday, I think that it just had all built up to ahead, and I had to just take the day off. Like, I was going to record this episode yesterday, but I spent pretty much all of yesterday in the dark, laying down on my bed and just watching YouTube videos on motivational speeches and how I can improve. And you know what? I'm thankful for it. Sometimes life knocks you down, or is it love knocks you down? I don't know. Sometimes life knocks you down so that way you can actually like get better tools. And as much as like, fuck, that was hard and I may have caused myself a pimple, I'm happy that it happened because I think I need to learn. And everyone always says that your 20s suck. Like every podcast that I listen to, they're like, your 20s suck. And now I'm kind of learning that maybe, just maybe, even though your 20s are like your hottest years, maybe the hotness is to compensate for the fact that they low-key suck ass. That was crazy. But what was even crazier was the fact that I also happened to watch the Inside Out movie during this turbulence. Raise your hand if you teared up during Inside Out 2. I related so much to the anxiety character. Like, anxiety is me is anxiety, we are homegirls. Like, I hated the fact that on that movie, I understood where that bitch was coming from. They made her look crazy. They made her look obsessive. But why would you not make a plan in case everything goes wrong, and then make a plan in case this goes wrong, and then make another plan, and then prepare your mentality for when everything goes to shit? Just me? I'm sorry, but like anxiety was like my spirit animal, and that's terrible. And when I watched the movie, I was like, I'm gonna learn from this, and I'm not gonna dig myself into the hole. 2 days later, I was in the hole, and I was just thinking, I said I wasn't gonna do this. I think what happened yesterday was that I went into an anxiety overload where she's typing on the computer and going back and forth at a wheel, and she just can't stop. That was me. I was frozen, brain frozen. Last thing I want to say about Inside Out 2 is it just me? But whenever they were showing like that awkward middle school phase, they landed it to such a T that I actually had low-key a hard time watching it because I was trying so hard not to cringe. Like I was like, oh my God, I remember when I waved to someone that didn't wave back. Oh my God, I remember when I would lie about what I was interested in. Oh, when she dyed the strip of her hair red, I almost got up and left the fucking theater because I could not handle it. I felt like I was the one doing all this crazy shit. I was like, no, stop. Like, just make it stop. I think that the reason why people get emotional from Inside Out is not that anything technically sad happens, but I think that it was just so relatable, and the like kicking yourself down, and like, why don't we think, what if the best thing happens? Why is that? I think it's because life has taught all of us that sometimes the best thing doesn't happen, but sometimes the best thing does happen. Maybe there's like a middle ground that I need to find. Maybe we should start that journey together. Also, little tip, if you are having one of those days, I say just take the day off, because you're not going to get anything done, but you will get everything done ×2 the next day once your mental is healed. Whew! That was a trip, but I did do something like kind of unique, kind of weird, kind of funky. I actually loved it. I did an architecture photo shoot. You know, you gotta start somewhere. It was actually really cool. The student dorms at the University of Washington, absolutely ridiculous. These bitches have a sky deck, like 5 study rooms. These are college apartments, 2 saunas, 3 large pools, a fucking pool table, a high-rise deck. Did I already say that? It has a grill. They have so many cool things. Like, when I was doing college housing, I lived in the fucking townhouses. Shout out the estates at UTSA. And that shit was nasty. They did not clean in between tenants. Like, you would think, oh, you're in a townhouse, you're living life. They did not clean for move out. I remember they didn't clean so hard that, like, I thought the girl before me just left a bunch of gross food in the freezer, and I threw it all out. And my roommates informed me that once you freeze meat, it actually is not bad. So I had threw away probably like $200 worth of meat that they were going to use. I still feel really bad about that. The pool was dingy. I remember, like, even the maintenance was terrible. Things would flood. Oh my God. I remember my roommate had a dog that would literally like shit all over the floor. Like, we would all be gone at work and the dog was at potty trained. So I would just come home to like 7 things of shit being stuck in the carpet. And I remember one time, because there were 3 of us in this house, the dog was just pooping everywhere. Me and my other roommate are like, where is the other girl who owns the dog? We track her and she's in fucking Houston. We lived in San Antonio. Houston is 3 hours away, and no one knew that the dog was going to be left with us. Me and my other roommate, I don't think that I'm a nurturer. I think I'm a caretaker. I like caring for people, but I'm not like a nurturer that likes to like raise things and like, you know, like do that initial part, like that mothering instinct. Don't fucking have it. And we were left with the dog and we had no idea because she was in 3 hours away. Thank you, Find My Friends. But college housing was terrible. I remember even the pool was never clean. But these bitches have 3 pools on a high-rise deck. What? So we did an architecture photo shoot for them. I was like, do I get a discount on move-in for this? Because how the fuck do 18-year-olds have AC and I don't? But when I was doing the architecture photo shoot, I met like the coolest people. I was literally driving over there and I was listening to a podcast. And one of the topics was, should you drop people because they are low vibrational. The girl was basically saying that she has a very high vibrational energy and that sometimes she feels like she is constantly giving her friends or her family pep talks or being like the therapist or the fucking like emotional dumpster. You know what I mean? I feel that to a T. I think I've told y'all before that like if someone that I know and love wants to dump all of their problems on me, I literally look like a trash can. Like, go ahead, baby girl. Just tell me your problems. Even when I used to work as a server, like, I would be like, hi, how are you? I actually, this, and this tells me the most traumatic story of my life. And I'm like, please don't trauma dump on me while I'm getting paid $12 an hour. Like, come on. Now I'm scared, you're scared, and we're both just shivering. But it was saying, should you drop low vibrational people when you're trying to make your way towards a high vibrational energy? You know what I mean? And I feel like in my life recently, I have dropped a lot of low vibrational people kind of on accident. But it was crazy that when I was listening to this, I'm going over to a photo shoot where I know nobody, and I meet the fucking baddest bitches ever. One girl traveled all over the world right after high school. She does like commercial modeling. Another guy, he's working on getting his play picked up. We even went thrifting together. We had just met right after the photo shoot, and he was telling me, yeah, like I'm really working on like my social media presence, and then I write plays because he went to a whole fine art school and everything. And he was like, I feel like I'm not getting the growth that I want, but like I want to keep trying, so I'm thinking of like getting another job to help supplement it. And okay, first of all, felt because I was thinking of picking up a bartending job on the side, but I know it's going to be a lot of work and I'm still in school. And it just felt very defeating because it was like, wow, like I quit work for a little bit and I have to go back to keep up my lifestyle, to keep up the fucking price of living. And then I talked to this guy who's saying it very happily, very casually that he hasn't had the exact growth that he wants, so he's thinking of just supplementing it, and that's okay. It was fucking inspiring. One guy was a firefighter, and he's doing this on the side just to make extra money because, I mean, here's the thing. I don't want to hear it. I know that we could all use extra money every now and then. I don't think anyone says no to extra money. And when I hung out around them, I think that it was like a wake-up call that yes, it is okay to drop people because their vibrations are low, and that you don't want to just surround yourself with people at the same level as you. You want to surround yourself with people who sometimes are even doing better than you. And I feel like that with like a lot of my friends now, like even one of my friends, they have like the cutest little townhouse, you know, they have their dogs, they're building their family. They like pretty much, I would say, like are on the track to like their life is like linear going up. Like on a pie graph, I see it going like this. And it inspires me all the time because I'm like, that is what I want to be. And I think that having friends who sometimes maybe are doing better than you in life is good for you. When that happens, you don't want to turn into the low vibrational person that's like, I'm sad, my life isn't going good. No, it literally pumps you to get off your ass and work, bitch. And so I think that these were all things that I needed because while I'm being down and out, I have to remember that, and you have to remember that even though you're down and out right now, if you put in the work, it won't last. But if you stay in the down, that shit will consume you and you'll never get anything done. And the only thing more depressing than slow growth is no growth. And that is my new mantra. Now, don't call me out when I'm having another anxiety attack like a couple weeks later, but it was just such an amazing wake-up call, and I fucking loved it, and it has just really taught me a lot. After I did the architecture photo shoot, I had like this whole plan to be really cute and go to a cafe and get a little coffee and do my work because the Pride episode was releasing. So I was like, okay, like I'm gonna have a whole Seattle day. I'm gonna be like the girls on the TikToks that I watch where they have the cute cafe and their headphones. Who was gonna tell me that that shit does not work? Being a cute cafe girl does not work. Oh my God. So first, I am driving around Capitol Hill like 20 million times because I can't find parking. That is the thing with these cities. Not finding parking can take away 30 minutes of your life. So first I'm driving around, can't find parking. I find parking, and then this guy just comes up. I think he saw me through the window, because then he comes up and is standing by my car. But I think he's like waiting for me to get out. So I'm like, I got a taser. No, I'm moving my fucking car. Like, sorry that I'm a woman in this world and I'm used to fearing for my life all the time. I know these things. If a sketchy guy starts standing by my car and wasn't standing there before I parked, do you really think that I'm going to get out? I move my car, finally find parking, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the bookstore to work because they have a cute little cafe and all these tables. I'm walking in, I have my bag, and it feels like the first day of school. Like, it feels like there's lunch tables, and I'm like, where do I sit? Is that how you'll feel when you, like, go to sit at these cafes and they're pretty busy? Because I'm like, what if I walk up and no table's open? Oh my God, it's my anxiety, my little one in my head. Wait, that sounded crazy. Not like that, but you know what I mean. I was like, what if I walk up and no tables are open? What if I walk up and then like someone looks at me weird? What if I sit somewhere and someone was already sitting there and they asked me to leave? And I'm like, okay, let me go upstairs first because it's less crowded. Table full. I'm brave. I take the big step and I walk into the cafe. It is completely packed. There's not one table open. I feel like everyone's looking at me. I don't know if they were, but I just, oh my God, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother y'all. Oh my God. So I leave. Yeah, I'm not waiting around for that shit. I'm not going to inspect your gadget to see if maybe there's one table clean. No, I booked my ass out of there because I feel like I can't sit with y'all. Like, it felt like the universe from the tables were screaming, you can't sit with us, you know? And so I was like, okay, the bookstore didn't work out, but maybe I can go to a cafe. So I walk across the street, someone cat calls. Oh, that's the other thing. It's like, how do you guys go out in cute outfits? Because like, if I'm taking Instagram pictures alone, I have to like walk around with a jacket on, but it's hot outside. So I'm just walking around in my like normal leggings and sports bra like other people. And the guy goes, hey, yo, Red, I'm talking to you. And I'm like, fast walk. You know, like where you just like put your head down and you pretend like my hair ain't red. I'm a brunette today. Like, I'm blonde. I have anything but red hair because I am not even going to turn because I don't want to get sucked into a terrible conversation. So I go to another cafe. And here's the thing, Seattle cafes are expensive as fuck, and you can't pick a table at a cafe until you buy a drink. So I'm like, okay, fine. I walk up. I just wanted a plain matcha with oat milk, no extra flavoring. That shit was $8.50 for an 8 ounce. Not even a 16 ounce. A 16 ounce is a water bottle. So I got an 8 ounce, which is like probably the equivalent of what? 8 shots. Whatever. I spend the $8. I definitely could have bought a sandwich at a cheaper place for that money. And I walk over because I see this place has a lot of tables. I'm looking and like, there's crumbs all over the tables. What do y'all do when there's crumbs on the tables? Because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to sit down and a crumb is going to stick to like my stomach. I was wearing pants, so not my thigh, thank God, but it's going to like stick to my stomach, or I'm going to place my laptop down and then I'm going to go home with these strangers' crumbs. And also, where did this crumb come from? Is it just a crumb that fell off of bread? Because I can deal with that. But what if it was a crumb that flew out of their mouth and onto the table? Ugh. So I finally sit down. I'm in between like two people. The people next to me are talking. He's talking. I'm like, okay, I'm cozy. I lift up my bag because I had just put it down. I lift it up to get my laptop out. And there's like food crushed under it. Straw wrapper crushed under it. And the straw wrapper is like gray. Oh, I look to my other side. There is a spider. A full-grown spider crawling next to me. And I get the fuck up. No, wait, actually, this is the most embarrassing part. I didn't get up. I tried to like flick away the spider and like flick away the trash. And I was like determined. I was like, I am going to be a cute cafe girl. I turn on my laptop and the fucking Wi-Fi doesn't even work. Like, I can't upload anything. And maybe it's because for the podcast, like for videos and stuff, I need a strong Wi-Fi connection. It's not working. So then I still stay. I try my hotspot. And it still doesn't work. Like, it's so slow. I get up with my fucking $8 matcha and I get my ass out of there and I drive home. I got nothing done at the cafe. It took me like an hour of my life. Who was going to tell me that being a cute cafe girl is difficult? Who was going to tell me that going out for coffee is not that aesthetic and that you have to choose the exact right clean location to do it? Because just every little cafe vita in Capitol Hill isn't gonna fucking cut it. I'm sorry, Cafe Vita, but it was like low-key a mess. But if you ever like want to collab, then I will take back this entire story. No, I don't blame the cafe. I blame the people who sat there before me, because at a cafe, there's only 2 people. So it makes sense that they can't get up and scrub every table. You know what I mean? But when are we going to think about the people sitting down after us? Because the guy next to me got up and left at the same time as I did. And he left crumbs on the table. He left his cup, not the cup there, but like the lid there only. And I was like, yeah, you fuckers are what ruins it for the rest of us. I almost cussed him out because what the fuck? I don't know. Is it me, or is being at the cafes hard? Maybe it's because like I'm not a cafe hot girly. Like maybe it's just not my aesthetic, and you have to be like a certain type of hot to be that. I don't know. Speaking of different types of hot, I would love to talk about this, because do y'all remember when there was like that whole trend going on TikTok, and it was like, there's different types of hot and this is like what you are, you know what I mean? So like I did some research on that, and hear me out. It's not about the different type of archetype hot that you are that they put out on a fucking BuzzFeed quiz. Even though I did take the BuzzFeed quiz, I got party hot. Surprise, surprise. But I think that actually sticking to like your aesthetic can level up your entire life. And I want to talk about this. First of all, I think that I hear a lot of women specifically who are very insecure. We look at Instagram, right, as a collective, and we're like, I want to be like her. Why do I look like her? You're walking down the street and you feel like the baddest bitch in your little outfit until you see a girl in a complete opposite outfit and you think, I wish I had her aesthetic. Why didn't I dress like her? I'm in all black and she's wearing colors, or I'm in all colors and she's wearing all black and it looks so good. Here's the thing. One thing that I think has been the best thing that I've learned while living in Seattle is that there is no such thing as being ugly. You just don't know what type of hot you are. I genuinely believe that. I don't think that anyone ever actually looks bad, but I think that sometimes you don't know what is your style and what you should be wearing. And I don't think this actually really has to do with physical appearance at all. I definitely think it's just like a combination of maybe a little bit of physicality, but mentally as well. It's like I always say, you could have 2 outfits and one could be better than the other, but if you're not confident in it, then it's actually worse than the other. And I think that this can actually help a lot of people find that confidence in their day-to-day life and their day-to-day style. For me, like, okay, on my BuzzFeed quiz, I'm just going to use this for example. On BuzzFeed, there's 5 types of archetypes of hot. There's elusive, party hot, ironic hot, weird hot. So there's 5 types, right? And it says that like weird hot would be someone who maybe they're a little quirky, you know what I mean? Like I would say that like maybe like crystal girls, plant girls, that could fall into weird hot, which like I definitely have a little bit of that as well because they're quirky, you know what I mean? But you're like, wait, this is actually really cute on you, you know? And then I would say that elusive hot is going to be like the mysterious hot girls. Oh, I wanted to be mysterious hot so bad. But I think that if you want to be mysterious hot, then that just like cancels out everything. Party hot, that's what I got, which like surprise, surprise, red hair, nipple piercings, 25mm lashes. I don't really know what else I was expecting. And I do enjoy a little clubbing moment here and there. And then there was also ironic hot. What was ironic hot? I think ironic hot is like a marriage of party hot and weird hot together. Like ironic would be, yeah, she's hot and what she does is ironic. Kind of like Elle Woods on Legally Blonde. I forgot. There was like the other one that was like basically just like a classic. Oh, doesn't know that she's hot. That was one of them. That speaks for itself. But even though I'm not going to like take into consideration, like I need to act party hot all the time, because if you stick to what your BuzzFeed quiz says, girl, no, that doesn't get all your depth of layers. But I think what's completely transformative and what will elevate your confidence to the next level is leaning more into the style that you know is best for you. I'll kind of like share my journey so we can hear it. I like my aesthetic. I would say that my aesthetic can be a little out there. It definitely could be, maybe it's a little slutty, maybe it's a little risque, but it works for me and I love it. I love like a good minimal Y2K look and all this stuff. I used to always want to be the classic poofy A-line dress girls with like the big puffy shoulders and like the hair, like, you know, and it wasn't just that for clothes I wanted to wear that. Like, I wanted my personality to be like that, because here's the thing. I am a fucking talker. I am a loudmouth. I'm opinionated. I think that when I'm speaking and interacting, like, you know that I'm in a room, and I, for so long, was not confident in that. Like, growing up, if you were to ask me what's your biggest insecurity, I wouldn't say, like, anything physically. What I would tell people is, oh, my personality. My personality is my biggest insecurity. That is so sad, saying it back. But it's because I was comparing myself to like the soft-spoken aesthetic, like, you know, like their whole Instagram has a nice dark feed. Like, I wanted to be that so bad. I would try to buy clothes like that. I tried to make my Instagram with those fucking Visco presets at one time. I remember even in elementary school, this girl that was in that aesthetic, she was very like, everyone thought that she was so cute. Everyone loved her. And I think that's where I got the perception that like my personality is bad and that type of personality is good. It's because I felt like people always liked those type of people more. And I felt like sometimes when people got to know me, like, maybe I'm too loud. Maybe I talk too much. I literally just thought maybe I'm too much. And I remember even in elementary school, there was this girl and she had the cutest voice and everyone liked her. And I literally tried to fucking copy her voice. Like, I used to have actually like a very squeaky, fast pitch voice. I can sometimes go between 3 different voices. There's the me that's like talking like this, da 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 da, and then there's the one that's like very draggy and kind of like valley, and then I have like my deep voice where I'm like da da da. And I think that the reason why I have 3 voices that are all very authentically me is because for at least like 3 years of my life, I was trying to force myself to talk differently. And so now I just variate, you know what I mean? And that aesthetic just didn't work for me. I never got complimented when I tried to be like that. If anything, people were like, I don't think that works, you know what I mean? And I think that when I really came into my own was like working at Hooters, working at Twin Peaks, like they're like in my same aesthetic, I would say. And they had similar personalities to me, very loud, very outspoken, very like glitz, glam, long acrylics, long lashes. So I think like, because in high school, I still like tried to fight this. Like I wore like belts and headbands for the longest, and not headbands like how I wear now as a part of like a style. Like, no, I was literally trying to be someone that I wasn't. And when I got to Hooters and stuff, there were these girls who were very eccentric, and I was like, okay. But I still felt really shy about it. I think it's also like, it really does depend on where you grow up. In Texas, like, there's a uniform. If you're not in just like a basic top and jean shorts or workout clothes, if you step out in like a like very poppy dress or stuff, like people are gonna stare at you and it's gonna feel uncomfortable. When I got to Seattle, I think what helped me out a lot was that I had a lot of like masculine friends. Like I had one in Texas, I had a lot of guy friends, and then here I had a lot of mass friends. And at one point, I had like no other feminine friends, like not a single one. So when we would go out, what I think was actually really good for me is that I couldn't ask anyone, what are you going to wear tonight? I couldn't do that. I instead had to just think, what do I want to wear tonight? What looks good on me? What's my vibe tonight? I couldn't do the whole, hey, can you wear a skirt so I can wear one too? Do you remember in like middle school I used to do that? Like I had to stick to my own fucking lane, you know what I mean? And that was actually, I think, really good for me. And I think that when it comes to building your confidence and finding your own aesthetic, I think that it's actually not as hard as we make it seem. I think that we all know our personality. We all know how we are. The problem is that we fight it. We fight it and we try to fucking change it, and we try to look like this other person, and we try to do this other aesthetic. It's like how you always want what you don't have. Girls with straight hair, not me, I'm not a girl with straight hair. Girls with straight hair want curly hair. Girls with curly hair want to straighten their hair. Me. I straighten it because doing it curly is so fucking hard. Like, oh my God, it takes a whole 30 minutes for me to do it. But you always want what you don't have. You know what I mean? I think that leaning into the type of hot that you are, both personality-wise and physically, will actually level you up completely. And I think that a lot of our preconceived notions of what actually is attractive stems from childhood. And you have to realize that we're not kids anymore. We're adults. We're at a point in our life to where being different is cool as fuck. When you see someone in the most outlandish outfit where she looks like she had just no dress code. Okay, in high school, you see the old type of kids and like their leather, and maybe they get bullied by like the all-American jock or whatever. But then now you see them on Instagram with their fit checks. You see them in person and you're like jaw dropped. You look cool as fuck. It's because they dare to be different. It's because they actually like lean into the hot that they are. And I think that so many of us would like ourselves more. We would probably feel way more confident if we just like leaned into the type that we actually are. And obviously like it varies. Like I can do maybe a preppy look. I could do maybe like a Y2K look. I could do like a beach look like this. But every time I do it as myself. I don't try to be someone that I'm not. And I honestly only learned this lesson recently. Like this isn't a new lesson. But what I noticed is that when I started leaning into my own actual style is when I actually got more compliments. When people actually listened to me talk more. When people stuck around to find out who I am. Maybe it's a different city. Maybe it's the grown confidence. But what I think it is that I'm actually one leaning into myself, and that accidentally creates so much more confidence. And there's even been people to where maybe their quote unquote type is the girl in a free people dress with the beautiful soft aesthetic and the nice little voice that like you could just fall asleep to. And then they would meet me and maybe, just maybe, they would be like, oh wait, I didn't know that I had a different type. It's like how sometimes you get with people and you're like, you're actually not my usual type, but now that I know you, you're my new type. I think that it goes back to that whole notion that like confidence is the most sexy thing. And I think that next time you're struggling with your appearance, you're struggling with your confidence, the best way to go about it would be to lean into who you are, because I think that we're all just better off. You can just tell when someone's faking it. Be yourself. Let's do a little bit of a 180. Okay, guys, so I know that I was going to do like a whole question for Tease Me, question, stories, advice, but I'm not going to lie. I think y'all need to send it just a little bit more, but I got a question on Spotify, and Spotify actually, they changed it now to where instead of writing in questions, you can actually put comments on the episode that I can respond directly to. So also, if you don't want to go to the form in my bio, you can also just comment on episode, comment what you like, comment what you love. But we got a question on the episode that I had with Kai, and I have to answer this. I can't leave her hanging. So let's do our first ever Tease Me, questions, stories, advice. Let's get into it, bitches. Hi, Aleya. I loved the episode. If you ever had a long distance relationship, I would love to hear any advice. My girlfriend is moving in a few months and I am freaking out. First of all, I fucking love you, bitch, for writing in a question on Spotify. I actually have been in a long distance relationship. I don't know if me and Kai mentioned this, but for the first almost 2 years of our relationship, we were long distance. And if you've ever been in a long distance relationship, you know that shit is so hard. It can feel like you're never gonna see your person again. And I can only imagine where she's coming from because her girlfriend's moving away. For us, it was a little bit easier because we never lived together. So like we started as long distance, but I can only imagine how hard it is to go from seeing someone every day to not seeing them at all. I think that what really helped for long distance was, one, visiting each other regularly. We would always have a plan on when we were going to see each other next. That doesn't mean that we bought a plane ticket in advance, but we always had an idea if like maybe I visited for New Year's. We were like, okay, I know that around my birthday, I know that in a couple months, we can plan something again. So I think that one, making that initial plan really helps because it helps you have something to look forward to. Like before your girlfriend moves, have a plan or just an idea in place on when you want to visit or when she's going to visit again. FaceTiming regularly, texting regularly can really help, but you don't want it to consume your life. I'm going to be devil's advocate. sometimes long distance relationships can be fucking bomb. I mean, you are a complete individual. You don't become codependent. You can go to bed and you get to pick the show. When you buy groceries, you only buy groceries for one. Like, sometimes that shit can be good. And I think that where a lot of people mess up with long distance relationships is that they don't see that good. And then they also will bombard each other and be like, you need to text me all the time. No, you get the element of surprise back. You get the element of, oh my God, I haven't seen you. Like, every time I saw Kai when I would come back from the airport, I would get butterflies all over again. Like, I felt like I was constantly having a first date. And so, one, keeping that mysteriousness of don't bombard each other throughout the day. I would say maybe doing like a daily FaceTime would be great. Texting throughout the day when you can, when you're free. Dates. You could even do FaceTime dates on Fridays or something like that, you know? But I actually think that me and Kai doing long distance and doing those FaceTime sessions is what caused us to be best friends. Like, I truly don't think that me and Kai are just in a relationship, but like, that's my best friend. I think that why sometimes long distance works as opposed to the latter is because it forces you to build that friendship and it forces you to just talk and build off of personality. You don't get anything physical. Like, yeah, I definitely recommend FaceTime sex, but FaceTime sex is FaceTime sex. You know what I mean? Like, you can sext, you can send nudes, you can do all this and that, but it's not the same as being in person. But it can be beautiful because it forces you all to get to know each other on a mental level. Like, I will say that sometimes I think that me and Kai might have had even longer, more in-depth conversations when we lived apart, because when we're finally getting to talk at the end of the day, we have so much to talk about. Last but not least, don't worry about the what ifs. Like, I know that a lot of people's thing is if they're long distance, I'm not going to know what they're doing behind my back. I'm not going to know if they're cheating. I'm not going to know if they're doing this. My biggest advice for that is, yeah, obviously sometimes I was like, what the fuck do you mean you're going to a party? But I'm not going to stop you. But just trust that the world is small. And if they try to pull some fuckery fuck shit, it will get back to you. The truth always comes out. I may not have people there, but I can visit and then you're going to introduce me to your friends and then I will find out. So just know that you are always going to find out everything. So there's not even any reason to drive yourself crazy. Even being tourist when you visit each other's city is so much fun. Like, if your girlfriend's moving to a new place, which I hope that you've never been there before, because then you get to do all the tourist activities. Like, it's so much fun and it can be so magical. Okay, guys, this was so much fun. I love like our just like normal little solo episodes. It's just me and you, babe. It's like a one-on-one fucking date and I love it. If you loved this episode, if you love the podcast, please, please, please share an episode with your friend, rate it, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and not gonna lie, it really helps the podcast. It helps me be able to keep doing this. So be sure to follow on all platforms. You can watch this on Spotify and YouTube. Leave questions so we can do a Tease Me full-on episode. And you can follow the podcast at Tease Pod on Instagram, at Tease Podcast on everything else. And my Instagram is at Aleya Antoine and at Aleya Antoine on every platform. And thank you so much for listening. I absolutely love you guys. Next week, I'm really excited for it because we just have some things to talk about next week. So be sure to stay tuned. We'll be here every Tease Tuesday. And I will see you bitches next week. I love you. I think I'm being